that good. Looks like it. Sure. Alright, cool. Early morning streams. On a, what, Sunday? Yeah, the most inconvenient time to do a stream. Just the way I like it. But, you never know. When I get the radio telescope up and running, I can do afternoon streams. Those are much more convenient. But you're more likely to catch meteors in the morning. And I'm just talking to myself right now. But you know what? Most of my videos are just that, so it doesn't bother me. Yeah, I still can't figure out what this this hazy signal right here is. I kind of looked around, couldn't find it. Oh well. Connection is excellent. That's good to know. My internet is actually quite bad, so I can stream fine. Okay. Steeping my tea. I like tea. Actually make this bigger so I can see what's going on. Oh, cool, I can. I should look into the AM bands sometimes, but I'm in kind of a valley, so I don't see how that would work very well. Because the AM signals kind of stick on the ground. Or close to the terrain anyways. They also suck. What am I looking for? Oh, I'm looking for a sudden spike in, like a signal. Like, I'm technically tuned into a signal somewhere in Edmonton, but there's also this hazy signal right here. And if a meteor flies overhead, we'll see reflection. Any luck yet? Nope. I'm not even sure if this works to be perfect. Well, this specific area works. I've had, like in the last video, I got some peaks that might have been a meteor, but yeah. It's like fishing. I'm not good at fishing. I also don't fish anymore. I wonder if I can... Oh, that could have been something. Let's see if I can click the, Yeah, no. It's like when I try to actually tune into it, it disappears. That's what makes me wonder. But if I stay adjacent to it, it's still there. That's suspicious. Unless I do this. Oh. No, I can hear it. It's definitely something. Like, it's definitely a radio source of some kind. Oh, there's a bit of attenuation there. I doubt that's something, but again, meteor signals in radio, like, they look like these, like, sudden spikes in intensity and culmination. cool if there was like just a signal source somewhere that I could just tune into that I knew was there and I knew was a continuous tone. But I don't. I know there are like, well, at least there were weather beacons like that, or like not weather. What do you call it? Navigation beacons. There we go. But I'm pretty sure most of those aren't used anymore, and there aren't any around me. So I'm stuck trying to just dig through the FM bands. It sounds like a talk radio. Hmm. Maybe it's ghosts. That would be quite the experience. Oh, yeah, something kind of like that, where you get those blips of intensity. But normally with a meteor, it's usually a long kind of, or not, like it kind of like shows up and then peters out. So those are like candidates, but I don't really, they don't really look quite like what I'm looking for. That's weird because yeah, like it's peaking. Let's see how long this lasts for. And it's gone. See, now that could have actually been one. Because it was a long spike of intensity that then petered out. Meteors are cool. It's also raining outside, so I can't see them anyways. Oh, here's more peak intensity. And it petered out. Hmm. Like, some of these look kind of like what I'm looking for, but I can't guarantee. So I guess this is like fishing, but you're not entirely sure if you're actually catching fish. So it's like you're fishing, but the water is completely black, or you're blind, and somebody else handles the fish. Because I honestly don't. Like, I remember a few years ago when I was doing this, I was able to get some, like, actual nice um, signals that looked very much like meteor spikes, but for some reason I haven't been able to catch that same level this year. I know Canada transitioned over to like digital, but that's for like TV. This is the FM radio bands are still here, so I don't know. I could be tuned in the wrong place. Let me fiddle with the antenna a little bit. Let's just change the polarization. Ugh, it's falling over. Yeah, it's kind of cool. You can see as I change the polarization of the antenna, it actually changes the waterfall pattern. That's kind of fun. Oh, radio. My grandfather was better at radio stuff than I am. Oh, I think I ruined it. 1 minute. Oh, there we go. Fixed it. I think. Sure, we'll take that as a fix. But yeah, when I get the first dish of the radio telescope set up, And I can do streams where we just hang out, staring at the hydrogen line, the 21 centimeter line, looking for aliens. That'll be fun. Probably less eventful, but cooler. Um, well, just kind of where they usually burn up, which is the thermosphere, I believe. No, the thermosphere is where the ISS hangs out. Ionosphere? It's somewhere above the mesosphere. It's basically just wherever they are. But the larger the meteor, and the longer I guess it survives, the better the chance of a reflection. Because the whole idea is that I'm tuned into a radio station that's just barely out of range behind the horizon, and when a meteor flies overhead, the plasma trail will reflect the FM radio waves and boost its signal or its range by just a little bit for like a brief moment of time. That's what I pick up. So the only real prerequisite is that it just has to burn up somewhere overhead between me and the radio source. And assuming this is somewhere out of Edmonton, which is north of here, about 200 kilometers, anywhere 200 kilometers north of me. But then again, I know that there is a station from Edmonton in this range. This phantom one that I'm looking at, I don't actually know where it comes from because it doesn't seem to exist. For all I know, it's ghosts, but I know it exists because it has modulation, so it is a signal of some kind. I just don't know where it comes from. I think it's awesome. It can be quite boring, but I think it's awesome. Then again, I've literally spent hours just staring at this waterfall screen trying to look for stuff, so. Where I can go into like the other bands. I was hanging out in the oh, I should like look in the ham band one of these days, see if I can pick up nerds talking to each other. Because you don't need a you if you don't need a permit to listen in to ham radio. You just need a permit to transmit in ham radio. But I don't actually know if anybody's using that or when they use that or where. So the ham band is usually empty for me. Not that I look very often. I also need to get some heat sinks for my SDR. So although it's made to like the metal housing is a heat sink, it still gets quite warm after a while, and I don't like that. And when the telescope's set up, it's going to be plugged in and operating 24/7, so I'd like to keep it cool as best I can. Because meteor hunting is just kind of a peripheral thing. All this stuff is eventually going to go towards looking for aliens. Or at least just having a continuous sky monitoring setup. I doubt I'll actually find anything. But your chances of finding anything are infinitely better if you look than if you don't look, so it never hurts. I mean, the big ear telescope is just doing zenith sweeping like sky surveys, and it found the WoW signal, so you never know. Yeah, I actually like the SDR setup. This is what, AirSpy? This isn't the most recent AirSpy. I forget, this was version, yeah, whatever. The most recent one has like a black look to it. And I don't know why I'm not using it. I think something about it not working or something. I don't know. All I know is that this setup works, so I use it. I wonder. Yeah, see, there's actual like strong radio stations right there. That's what they look like. How far? Yeah, there's stations there. That's 105.1. That could be local for like that actually looks like a local station, honestly. But I'm tuned in here because somewhere over the rainbow, like 105.4, or is it 105 something? Oop, that's right. I was hanging out 105.5 because the phantom signal's adjacent. And I know it's probably an echo from something. Like I don't think it's an actual station because I cannot find anything in this range. And I've looked literally in my province, in Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia. I even looked south into Montana, and I couldn't find any stations broadcasting in this area. All I know is that there's an Edmonton station somewhere here that I should be picking up, but I think this might actually be that station, and it's just being shifted because of something. That would make sense, I guess. I honestly have no idea. I'm not so much smart as I'm just an expert at speculation or something. Yeah, 55.240. Yeah, I seem to get the most activity in this little hazy spot here. I just kind of stay adjacent to it because it's well, it's a round number. Well, not round, but it's an easy number. Yeah, true. Actually, I wasn't gonna stream this morning. I was gonna try to stream later in the afternoon, but I just know that that's not gonna work out because I was supposed to stream yesterday afternoon, but I was very busy. And by busy, I mean I was asleep, and then I had to make food because I'm nocturnal. Um, my North American subscribers may notice that my videos tend to be posted between like 3 and 5 a.m. And that's because that's when I'm active, so it's like, alright. Oh, there's something. Let's see how long it lasts. Uh, that's still going, so I doubt that's a meteor. 12-hour slots, what do you mean by that? That was something. Oh. Um, possibly? Hey, what's up? Well, currently the sky is up, and rain clouds. I was gonna get out and take my e-bike and go out and pick up garbage as I do every weekend. Because what else do you do with an e-bike? But it's raining, so I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. It kind of seems to come and go, but it does. It's not. That's less meteor. That it seems more like interference somewhere. Hmm. Well, technically, up is anywhere uh, exact opposite to the pull of gravity in your specific location. I guess so. Anywhere, like draw a line from the center of the Earth to you, and then keep going. So I guess what's up for me is literally rain clouds. But if I get into space, then up loses meaning. unless you want to like count the center of largest mass as down, in which case once you get into orbit, Earth is down, everything else is up. And if you are in the solar system, then the sun is down. And if you're interstellar, the center of the galaxy would be down. And if you're intergalactic, I guess the Great Attractor would be down? I don't know. 80 miles in ionosphere? Yeah, 80 miles, 100 kilometers, 80 miles. That's like the end of the ionosphere and the thermosphere kind of situation. Oh, there's something going on. Let's move that back here so I can hear what's going on. Like, it's definitely a radio station. That's that's the best I can determine what it is. It's a radio station of some persuasion. I suspect it's the one out of Edmonton that's in this range, but it's just been shifted for some reason. I can go crank it up to the hydrogen line, but I doubt I'll find anything with my current setup. Actually, I wonder. No, this antenna wouldn't work very well for that. I would need my actual proper telescope for that. Which I was actually speaking with somebody, and I can get a parabolic dish and the mounts for it for a lot cheaper because I don't need to actually get the feed horn because I'm going to be getting a different feed horn for that. NASA's working. NASA hasn't landed. Well, no, NASA actually hasn't landed anything out in the outer solar system. That was the European Space Agency with the Huygens probe landing on Titan. I don't think it had a mic. It might have actually. I have to check. I have a model of that one on my desk that I made. And yes, Venus. There actually was recordings from Venus. That was the Soviet Venera missions, which is what my channel's named after. Pretty fun stuff. However, there are recordings from Jupiter and Saturn, like just the planets in general. You can hear them. They emit radio waves, especially like the lightning and the interactions with the magnetic field. It's quite spooky. Yeah, on the Venus recordings. Actually, on the Venus recordings, what you hear is lightning distorted to the atmosphere because there is lightning on Venus. It just, yeah. Oh, there is also recordings from Mars. NASA got those. Perseverance had microphones, and and you can hear the sound of wind. You can also hear the sound of the wheels. Balian via VLF. Let's look that up right now, shall we? Let's grab my phone, which is currently fully charged. Yay. Uh, oh my god, come on. EF. BLF. Okay. Natural radio. Oh, interesting. Huh. I'll look into that later then. Yeah, just what I'm really looking forward to is the hydrogen line. That's the fun area. But I need the proper telescope for that. So unfortunately, I'm stuck with meteors for now. Oh, not bad. I think it's kind of fun. It's actually funny because my telescope was originally going to be horn antennas, like just basically giant feed horns. But the cost of sheet metal has just skyrocketed, and I was getting quotes, and it would be more expensive to get and make the horn antennas than to buy like old S-band parabolic dishes and convert them with a 21 centimeter feed horn. So I'm just gonna do that instead. Plus, the game would be better, and I could add directionality if I wanted to. Would they be affected by our diseases like in War of the Worlds? Probably not, to be perfectly honest. Again, it's like life generally, like pathogenic life, generally evolves to infect life it evolved to infect. Now, there could be things that would be problematic to them indirectly, but it isn't like, they'd show up and, like, influenza would kill them with influenza things. Because, like, if their biochemistry, and actually, hell, if their DNA is even just wrong, then viruses wouldn't even be able to replicate in their body because our, like, terrestrial viruses evolved very specifically how to replicate in our body or in the bodies of plants or other animals. So, no, I don't think aliens would be at risk of diseases from us, and vice versa. Those are xenomorphs under the ice shelf in Antarctica, if the movies are to be believed, or the Thing. Um, I believe they left the Blob in Antarctica. Yeah, and they just like left it there. It always annoyed me. It's like I would like drop it in Antarctica and then nuke it. Like it was the 50s, they could do that. Carpenter's thing. Yeah, well, it was supposed to freak you out. It was a 1980s horror. They were just over the top. I actually don't like most 80s movie or most 80s horror, just because I don't care how fake the gore looks. It just gets tiring after a while. Although I like Schwarzenegger movies. I don't know what that says. Ooh, what's going on here? That's an odd pattern. Huh. Well, that's curious. Is it my fan, maybe? The fan's just on to help cool the SDR, but I can probably turn it off to be perfectly honest. Boston Dynamics is pretty cool. I mean, in general, uh, depends what the robots are used for. Although there's a video, you can look it up. I think it was like a robot competition, what, 2016, 2017? And there's one in particular where it was a robot, and it was trying to turn a valve, like a big valve. So it walks up to it, and then it reaches out to grab it, and it's like, it misses completely, and starts grabbing the air next to it, and then starts turning, and it just flips itself onto the ground, and it's actually quite funny. In outer space movie. No, this won't pick up anything in space. What I'm looking for is meteor reflections in the ionosphere, so like terrestrial signals being bounced off of that. And my radio telescope will also. Well, actually, that one I guess could, but it's looking at the hydrogen line, so it's not likely to find anything moving, unless there's something broadcasting at that tone and coming towards like and moving, which would be spooky because that would basically be an alien spacecraft if that was the case. So actually, what would be cool about the telescope is when it's set up, if you do like a time lapse, you'll be able to see the galaxy pass over it. Because like when the bulk of the galaxy is passing overhead, the neutral hydrogen will be picked up, and then yeah, so you actually see a spike, and then it goes down. It's kind of cool. Forward scatter? Yeah, I think so. Can I detect an asteroid? No, I cannot detect an asteroid. Asteroids are usually detected using radar astronomy. The Arecibo used to do this, where it would beam out radar and then catch the reflections coming back. Asteroids do not naturally emit radio waves. So if there was an asteroid coming like over my house, I wouldn't know about it until it hit me. Yeah, it's called being a massive nerd. I'm quite proud of myself. I also just read a lot. Oh yeah, the new China's new telescope. That's fast, the 500 aperture radio telescope. That thing's cool. I like that one. I don't know if it can do radar astronomy, but it's still pretty awesome. It's also open to like anybody, so like anyone can like any country can use it, and that's just cool. What I want to see, and China wants to do this as well, and a number of scientists at NASA want to do it, but NASA's budget is obviously a problem. They want to build a massive radio telescope on the far side of the moon, like sunk into a crater, and that way you would get no interference from Earth, and you'd be able to do radio astronomy without any terrestrial interference, and that's just really cool. That would also be open up to anybody apparently if they built it. So yeah, well they have catch up to do, but they're doing a really good job of it. I mean, NASA is still completely dominating in robotic exploration of the solar system, but China's pretty fast catching up on that. Russia is Roscosmos used to be like the foremost human space agency back in the day, and it's very depressing to see what bureaucracy has done to it because they really don't get anywhere. It takes like 10 years for them to develop a new rocket, and even then it might not even happen. Like their new replacement for the Soyuz has been in development for like what 15 years now, and I'm very sad by that. Uh, I mean, I've thought about it. My space engine videos are essentially a podcast, but I talk to myself, which I suppose it could be funner if I actually had somebody else to talk to. Oh, I'll think about it. Oh yeah, Asgardia. They showed up what 2017. They're like a space nation, and it's like cool beans, but they don't actually have anything. It's more just an idea currently. There was actually an attempt to make a space agent or a space country in like the 60s or something like that, or the 70s, and I think it was more of a joke, but it didn't pan out. Galactica, like the TV show. Actually, fun fact about Battlestar Galactica: the original uh, TV show was based on Mormonism. I'm just saying. Asgard, like Thor, yeah. Oh, from Russia. Well, I know the fellow who started Asgardia. I think he's Russian. I don't know where he lives though. It's just kind of an international thing. It strikes me more just like it's more like a Facebook page at this point. Oh yeah, there's a lot of. I think there's actually a Battlestar Galactica tabletop, kind of like Star Wars one, where you may have spaceships. If I had money to waste, I would totally like do stuff like that because I like spaceships and real-time strategy. And yet, I am awful at StarCraft. I still enjoy it, but I am terrible. I just waste all my time trying to get the battle cruisers, and just that's all I do. It's like I like battle cruisers. Yeah, retro things usually are expensive. I was looking at blueprints. Oh, we have some more stuff going on here. I was looking for blueprints for retro spaceships because I like those. I have my C57D ones from Forbidden Planet, and I found a set of the same style from the Jupiter 2 from the original Lost in Space, and I was like, oh man, I want that, but it was like $80, and it's like can't afford that, not right now. Oh well. I mean, like, it's one of those things where, like, I theoretically could afford all these things, but being a responsible adult and having to save money for expensive equipment means I can't buy fun things. At least not a lot. My friends tried to get me into Magic the Gathering, and I was like, eh. So I don't really do the collectible game thing. Although I do make and print off things. I could make my own miniatures. Actually, I sell model kits that I print off, and I'm making these little um, rocket toy thingies. Like they kind of look like old metal diecast rocket toys, but I'm gonna print them out of shiny silver filament when that shows up. Those will be for sale as well. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, magic. It's quite the experience. Well, it's actually been quiet here for a while. You know, I'm actually gonna have to do this in the afternoon sometime and see, like, compare the rates to this. Uh, is someone doing dishes? Oh yeah, someone woke up and is doing dishes. Probably. Actually, I don't know who that is. As long as it isn't my cats, I don't mind. I'm sorry, my door's closed, but yeah. But no, anyways, I'm gonna have to compare clouds. No, clouds do not affect it. It's currently raining outside. Um, that's the joy of media reflections. Is clouds don't bother it. Radio waves travel through clouds just fine. Oh yeah, as I was saying, I'm gonna have to test this in the morning versus in the afternoon to see if I actually am picking up meteors. Because you're more likely to see and detect meteors in the morning than in the afternoon, because the Earth's like motion through space. In the morning, you're facing the incoming side of Earth's motion, so if you're passing through debris, you're basically in a position to see it being swept up. Whereas in the afternoon and evening, you're on the far side of the Earth relative to its motion through space, so you're not going to see very much. So that's one way I could tell, or I could test to see if I actually am picking up meteors or not. Is just do a sampling. Yeah, I'm in Canada. It's fun here. Oh, Minnesota. That's basically just like Canada Light. They don't want to admit it, but you know, we all know it's true. Have I been to Minnesota? I've been to Michigan. It sucked. Past the Kuiper Belt? No, we do not. The Kuiper Belt is out past Neptune, and it stays out there. The Kuiper Belt's kind of like an inner ring component of the Oort cloud. I mean, it isn't a part of the Oort cloud, but it's like you have Neptune, and then you have the Kuiper Belt out past Neptune. Pluto's a Kuiper Belt object, and Sedna, and Make, and Eris, and the other ones. And then you have like the inner Oort cloud, and then the outer Oort cloud. And the outer Oort cloud extends out like, what, 2 light years? It's something stupid like that. Uh, Cirrus. Cirrus is in the main asteroid belt, so it's between Mars and Jupiter. And no, what Jupiter does in those regards is it tends to kind of clean up and shepherd asteroids in the main belt. And if comets are coming in, there's a good chance that Jupiter will capture them and deflect them because it's just a very large mass. So it doesn't, like, stop 100% of all asteroids coming towards Earth. But what it does is, over the course of, like, geological time frames, it shepherds things and potentially deflects things and gives us a little bit of protection from inbound comets and whatnot. I think Saturn helps too, to some degree. Having large planets in your star system is generally just a good thing. Yeah, Shoemaker Levy 9, that happened. When was that? It was in the 90s. Was that 97? I would have been 4 years old then. Let me check. Let's pull out the old phone. Shoemaker Levy 9 Impact. Not the band. 92. Oh, no, it broke apart in 92 and then hit Jupiter in 94. So I was, well, a year old when that happened. Yeah, I was close enough. Comet Hale Bop. Oh, yeah. That was 95. Fun fact about that, though. That was. Okay, I was born in Canada. I think in Winnipeg? Yeah, Winnipeg. And then my family immediately moved to California because my dad was a minister at the time, and we were shuffled all about the continent. And I lived in this really, really, really crappy trailer park in Modesto, California. And 95, yeah, when the Hale-Bopp comet showed up, there were a bunch of, like, really culty people who lived somewhere nearby who all killed themselves because they thought that it was, like, a spaceship coming to take them. I don't know. Asteroid scares. Well, the question is, are we actually having asteroid scares? Or is the media having asteroid scares? Because frequently, scientists will say something and other people will take it out of context and use it for clicks. Like, Carl Sagan talked about this. Back in the day, I think like the 20s or the 30s. Or was it the 40s? Oh no, it was like, I think it was the 20s. Um, Scientists were able to detect, like, were able to do spectroscopy of comet tails, and they found in Halley's comet, or was it Halley's comet, or maybe it was in a different comet. But I think it was Halley's. They found cyanogen gas in the tail, and it was in incredibly small amounts. Like, the people who were working on it were like, "Well, that's interesting, but it doesn't really matter because it just doesn't matter." But the news picked up on it, and because cyanogen is highly toxic, and Earth passes through Halley's comet's tail, so the people were like, "Oh my God, Halley's comet's gonna gas us all." No, it was a different comet, I think. But either way, it was a comet, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's gonna gas us all. We're all gonna die." And the scientists were like, "No, we just detected cyanogen, but it's in no real amount." But people were having end of the world parties and selling gas masks, and it was great. I mean, I wasn't alive then. I am not a century old, but it was, and that just kind of happens forever. Anytime anything happens, people are like, "Oh my God." Or like the face on Mars when it was first seen by Viking. They knew it wasn't a face. They were like, "It's a rock, and it's just interesting lighting, but we'll put it out as a joke." And, well, so much of a joke that went. Ugh. That happens so often. It's like you get. This is what happens when you have. What do you call it? That's not what I'm. It's like. Oh, my brain went blank. Media that's based off financial gain, I guess, like monetized media, is quality stops mattering, and it's all about just getting money for clicks. So clickbait's actually been around forever, even before the internet and it was clicks. It was like just, you know, flashy headlines. Meteors hitting people. That happens every now and then. This one person's car got hit by one, and they sold the meteor and the car for like twice the price of the car, and it's like, cool. That was a nice return. Asteroid, asteroids actually pass between the Earth and the Moon, not frequently, but like if you, it's not terribly uncommon, nor is it a huge problem. Like a lot of times it'd be like, oh, there's a meteor flying by Earth, and it'll be like 10 times the distance between Earth and the Moon, and it's like, yeah, real issue there. But yeah, if you the Earth and the Moon, like if you lined up all the planets side by side, you could fit them between the space between the Earth and the Moon. So it's like it's actually a pretty wide space. So a meteor flying or an asteroid flying between the Earth and the Moon isn't a huge deal, unless it's like really really big. Then it's like if Cirrus decided to pay us a visit that close, I would be concerned. Oh yeah, there's tons of dust. I think it's like every day there's like some. Oh, it's like 10 or 11 tons of material rain down from space every day. How big is Cirrus? Oh, I was like the star because you spelled it like the star. No, you mean the asteroid. Eh, it's smaller than the moon. It's kind of like the smallest you can get while still being spherical. So it's not like huge, but it's also not tiny. It's the largest asteroid in the asteroid belt. 200,000 tons. Yeah, I was about right. No, it's fine. I read that and I was like, wait, what? But I knew exactly. It's like, oh, you meant Cirrus, not Sirius. So it's like I got it. Don't worry. Apophis. Apophis used to be like okay. A number of years ago, it was like a little bit on the watch scale for like asteroids, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's gonna kill us." But recently, more close observations have found that no, actually, it's not a threat. It would cause massive damage if it hit, but it's not going to. At least I hope it doesn't. Yeah, we have far more concerning things to worry about than asteroids. Well, except for the ones we can't see. 2030. Oh, those are just usually okay, well, if you can plot an asteroid's course, you just basically run the clock forward and you keep doing that until you find an encounter. So it's like, Apophis will fly by Earth at this date, and if it goes through what's known as the keyhole, which is a gravitational like corridor, where it's like if it passes through the specific orbit, then it might change its orbit enough that it'll come and hit us again like a decade later. But no, there isn't. It's very unlikely that'll happen. We actually do have asteroid defense, not in the sci-fi, well, kind of in the sci-fi sense. It's more like we know what to do if one shows up, but we don't have anything on like active standby. But it's like if Apophis does become an issue, we have enough time that we could very easily move it, kind of situation. Like you can gravity tractor, you can paint one side of it, um, or you can just like nuke one side of it. Uh, The thing about nuking asteroids is you don't actually. It depends on the asteroid. If it's like an iron nickel asteroid, then eh, it might not do much. It depends on the size. If it's small enough, you might be able to just vaporize enough of it with a nuke close up. But the best bet, what you want to do is actually detonate the nuke kind of next to it, like right off to the side of it. And what that'll do is it'll flash heat one side of the asteroid, and that'll cause outgassing and just photon emissions from that one side. And that'll slowly nudge it, a couple degrees off its path. And by the time it reaches Earth, it will have missed us by a huge margin. So a lot of it's just nudging. Lasers would do pretty much the same thing. You just like vaporize one side, or you kind of like ablate one side, and just allow outgassing and thermal heating to push it. Yeah, the paint would cause uneven heating, which would cause a thrust in one direction. Of course, you can also just like you can park a spacecraft next to it, and then have it fire its engines so it keeps itself in equilibrium, so it doesn't fall towards the asteroid but doesn't break free. And what that does is, because the gravity from the small spacecraft and the asteroid are mutually trying to pull each other together, since the spacecraft is trying to pull away from the asteroid, the gravity of the asteroid trying to drag the spacecraft down will cause the asteroid to slowly move towards the spacecraft. It'll be a very, very, very small amount, but you could do it over the course of like months, and it would slowly add up to a couple degrees of changed velocity. It's called a gravity tractor, and it's quite cool. You literally just use the asteroid's gravity to move it. Yeah. Also, I keep kind of seeing things on the stream here, but I'm not really paying attention. So it's like, uh-oh. I'll keep this stream going for a little bit longer, but I do have to wrap it up here soon. I was originally supposed to be a 30-minute stream, but I enjoy talking, so it kind of kept going. Insane bombardments. Well, we do get, periodic situations, but it's all about size and, what do you call it? Oh crap, my brain went blank again. Basically, it's like an asteroid impact, like the Chicxulub impact that killed the dinosaurs, happens on average like every 100 million years or something like that, or 50 million years. And the smaller the asteroid, the higher the frequency. So it's all just a ratio, like a ratios game or a numbers game. The one that I find interesting is like, oh, a meteor impact like Tunguska happens once every 100 years, roughly. And we've actually seen that because we had Tunguska in 1914 or something like that. And then we had the Chelyabinsk impact in Russia in 2015. And that was like within that, like, that 100 years apart kind of ratio. So like, it isn't like, oh, it has to happen like clockwork every 100 years this happens. It's just over the course of 100 years, you're likely to have, or like the longer you go, the more likely these events are going to happen. And the smaller the impactor, the higher the frequency, the larger the, yeah. So there very well could be an asteroid like the Chicxulub impact that's on its way, to come and kick our ass. But I doubt an asteroid that big could get by us, or at least we would know about it. So, oh yeah, the 20 kiloton one. I remember Carl Sagan once made a comment about Tunguska, where it's like if that had happened, during the Cold War, like nuclear heightened tensions, something like that could have, like, sparked a nuclear conflict, because had similar hallmarks to a nuclear detonation beyond, aside from not having radiation or the double flash. And it's like, that's spooky. It would have, yeah. Yeah, nuclear war generally sucks. I would say. On the scale of 1 to suck, nuclear wars probably suck. That's actually. I'm glad I didn't live during that time, to be perfectly honest. I had horrible anxiety about nuclear war. Oh, from high school into my first year of university. And that was during a time of pretty good, like, peace. But I've always had anxiety, so of course I did. So I wouldn't have handled the Cold War very well. I wonder. 105. The day after tomorrow. Oh yeah. Or wasn't the day after the nuclear war one? Because the day after tomorrow was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal and the ice hurricanes, but the day after was the nuclear war one that scared the president. I think it was Reagan. It made him depressed. North Korea just does it for clout. They won't actually do anything. Oh yeah, that one. Um, oh yeah, I remember that. North Korea keeps they've been testing ICBMs, but they're doing a very bad job of it. So, but yeah, the day after that was the American one. That was a disturbing movie. The British one, known as Threads, which was a similar kind of concept, was arguably far more terrifying and traumatizing. And I remember, uh, who was it? It was like a British person. They were talking about how like they watched it in middle school, and they were like, "Why would they show this to middle school students?" And it's like, yeah, I would. That's pretty traumatic. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, the best North Korea could do is like shell South Korea, but they know that if they did that, everybody, including China, would step on them. So I don't really consider them that much of a threat because all they do is it's all just like clout. They do it for their own internal propaganda. They don't actually do it because they actually want to. It's like a child acting up. They do something to try to get something, and then they just go back to being quiet. Because like the last time they've done nuclear tests, China kept threatening them, and it's like their only ally, or quote unquote ally. But Beijing actually does not like them very much, so they're kind of ruining that whole situation. I didn't see The Day After Tomorrow in theaters. I saw it like later, and I was like, it was an okay movie. I mean, it was a that was a Roland Emmerich movie, and I like Roland Emmerich. He also did Stargate and Independence Day and 2012, which was a terrible movie. What were we talking about? Well, this is a Meteor stream, so obviously we're talking about movies. Because why wouldn't we? 10 or 11? I was in high school when they were doing that. Hey, I like movies. getting some things here. Let's see how long this lasts for. Actually, I don't know if that is a meteor. That might just be something else. Yeah, you'd think so. I'm I'm not. We may have seen a couple this stream, but I'm not actually sure if I've actually seen any. It's like, uh-oh. Oh yeah, I will probably try to stream more often because it's kind of fun just to sit and do nothing. But I'm telling you, once I get the radar telescope set up, I'm gonna do streams where I just sit in the hydrogen line looking for aliens. I'm dropping stuff. Where'd it go? Yeah, whatever. My cat will find it eventually. No, that might have been something. Oh. How long is that going? See, that was short enough. That could have been one. Yeah, maybe. It depends on what powers their ships, to be perfectly honest. But if there's aliens hanging out over my house, I'd be like, can I help you guys? And then they'd probably just fly off. And I'd be like, fine then. They can't use my AMA membership then. Most people like to compare the red spot to an eye, but I guess that works too. I think the hexagon on the pole of Jupiter or Saturn is closer to that. Psychic communication. Oh my goodness, that reminds me of the woman who came up with the Nibiru Cataclysm conspiracy. Where she thought that she was in telepathic contact with the Zeta Reticulans, and they would give her information. Something leads? I don't know. She was insane. Like, literally. So. Hmm. Yeah, that's almost certainly schizophrenia. But instead of getting her the help she needed, people just made money off of it, I guess. It's like put her on TV, and it's like, no, don't do that. Ah, what's going on? Oh, we're good. Zeta, yeah, I hope the Zeta Reticulans to listening. Then again, the Alien movie, like the first one and the second one, took place in Zeta Reticuli. The planet where they found the xenomorphs, that was in the Zeta Reticuli system. So nothing good can come from there. Oh yeah, Barn and Betty Hill, they also talked about Zeta Reticuli. But then again, the methods used to find their quote-unquote memories were the same methods used to install false memories. So, yeah. There's actually one problem with hypnosis to try to uncover memories. The McPherson incident. I've heard of that. I haven't actually looked into it. I was actually. That's actually funny you brought that up. I was watching Vinesauce Joel, his Signal Simulator streams. Because I have him on in the background. He mentioned that one. So. The engineers, I have no idea. It might have been Um, I think it might have been referenced in Covenant, but I didn't watch Covenant. All I know is the engineers used like LV something 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 as a lab. Yeah, they evolved regularly, and then they made humans, and then tried to kill humans for some reason. Oh, that could have been that. That might have been a meteor. That's looking closer to what a meteor would like signal would look like. Yeah, I haven't watched Prometheus in a while. Everyone hates it, and I agree it's a bad movie, but I still enjoy it. So it's like, nah. See, yeah, thank you. I like Mission to Mars too. That was a good movie. I liked the end. Not a lot of people liked it though, but it's like, what? It was good. Those Martians, I tell you. Oh yeah, Mission to Mars is I think it's good. It's a pretty straightforward movie, but it's good. I think so. My tastes are terrible though, so your experience may vary, but I liked it. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much about the movie, but it's fun. I like the ship in it. Yeah, kind of. That movie also took place in 2020 or 2021, I think. No, that was 2020 2021. So basically, it happened now, and I'm just sitting here like, well, that didn't pan out. Then again, Back to the Future took place what 7 years ago? Well, the second one did, anyways. Yeah, carboniferous chondrites are pretty cool. I actually have a small one on my desk. Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't go to the moon, so he went to Mars instead. And went to another galaxy, I guess. It wasn't like Gary Sinise or something like that. It's Gary something. Man, I gotta watch that movie again. I'd go if I could come back. But then again, Star Trek has taught me that anything from outside the galaxy is very bad. Like, literally, in the Star Trek universe, anything that comes from outside the galaxy is automatically bad. All of it. Even if it's not intentionally bad, it's bad. You have the Doomsday Machine, you have the Ornithoids, you have the Kelvins, you have the giant space amoeba, you have the Caretaker species, you have species 8472, you have whatever the hell Kevin Umbrich was. Um, it's just like everything that comes out from other galaxies is bad. Oh, there was those giant like the brain cells that attacked Spock. It's like I don't know what the deal is. It's like can there be one intergalactic creature that isn't bad in some way? And it's like Star Trek's like nah, they're all evil, and it's like fine then. Well, I mean like the caretaker wasn't intentionally evil. He just his technology was too strong, and his results were bad. Or the one ornithoid fellow, he wasn't bad, but he got pushed around by his colleague a lot. And the giant space amoeba wasn't intentionally bad; it was just bad by default. The Doomsday Machine was very much just bad. There was no ambiguity there. It was just bad. Kevin Umbrich wasn't intentionally bad, but he committed genocide, so I'll take that as bad. Ah, there was other ones too. The Kelvins were also bad, but then they developed emotions, but they were still bad. It depends on the amoeba. Acanthamoebas can. Acanthamoebas are scary. Acanthamoeba is why I will never wear contacts in water or just in general. It's like, nah, man, never wearing contacts. You can't make me. The amoebas. I don't know if the brain cells and the amoeba. I don't think they came from Andromeda. I know the Kelvins came from Andromeda. The robots that Mud found and then tried to take over the Enterprise. They came from Andromeda. Uh, the Ornithoids may have come from Andromeda, and I believe the Caretaker came from Andromeda. I'll have to check on that. I mean, Andromeda's the closest, what makes sense, but I like to think the Doomsday Machine came from Triangulum, just to be different. But the Kelvins straight up, and the robots straight up said they came from Andromeda. Are nanobots real? Not really, no. It depends, though. Like, the science fiction version, no. Um, but, like, tiny little mm, remote controlled quote unquote machines, kind of. Like, they're working on these little. They're. They're more just like complex tiny bits of metal that you use magnets to control, but they're not actually robots. It's like you're not gonna get like nanites with like processors and they can like do this and that. The best we might be able to get are tiny little robots that don't have internal power and are controlled with magnets from the outside of the body. Who's gonna travel billions of light years to come here? Well, the Kelvins apparently. Nanobots from Day of the Earth Stood Still. See, I didn't watch the new Day of the Earth Stood Still. I loved the original, but the new one, I could not care less. I did not watch it. I liked the original. The original was good. Klaatu and Gort. Eh, not really, no. The problem with nanobots in the sci-fi sense is that there is a size limit to like computing and processing. So it's really hard to get like a tiny machine that has independent control and processing. The best you could do is a tiny little bot that's controlled externally in some fashion. Keanu Reeves might actually be an alien or at least a time traveler. There's tons of paintings throughout history of people that look just like him, so. Oh, and, oh, who's the other one? The fellow who tried to steal the Declaration of Independence. John Travolta's face and Face Off. Ah, how do I not remember his name? He's like a meme. I can see his face too. It's like I know who it is. God, I feel stupid. I'm completely drawing a blank. This is awful. National Treasure. Come on, what is his name? One second, I gotta Google this. I feel like an idiot. Nicolas Cage. My god, I am such an idiot. Yeah, Nicolas Cage. He also might be an alien. What if you had a container of 10 grams of antimatter that didn't explode? I would probably sell it and get trillions of dollars. Uh, I'd also be terrified of it because even 1 gram would make like a megaton explosion. So 10 grams of antimatter, I'd be like, well, this is an experience. But it's also like the most expensive material currently known. So I'd probably just sell it. I'd be like, yo, researchers. It depends. If it's like anti-hydrogen or just like an anti-proton field, I'd be like, you guys trying to figure out if antimatter interacts with gravity. Here, I'll sell this to you, and I'd make money off. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to be rich unless I sell it, make lots of money, and give it like all to like cancer research or something. Maybe keep like 50,000 for just general day-to-day stuff. Haha, cause for concern. Yes. Anyways, I'm gonna have to stop this here stream here. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. It is currently an hour and 16 minutes, so kind of went way too long. Go ham. You know what? Next time, maybe we will scan through the ham frequencies and try to find people. That could be fun. I'll be sure to do more these streams later, and we can see how that goes. But yeah, so thank you all who showed up. That's all well and good. I always enjoy the chatting. Don't think we caught too many meteors this time, but it's always fun. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.